Well, hello. Welcome back to another exciting edition of Coffee with Steven. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather today, so if you hear kind of a nasally thing or I start coughing in the middle of this, I apologize right off the bat. This blog is on individual liberty, and there's kind of an interesting muse that started the whole thing. Sandy and I were at home and we were watching a Netflix documentary on the one-child policy in China. And it was a combination, you saw a combination of the propaganda that they were instilling to try to essentially get the population of China to capitulate to this policy. And then you also saw the state using extraordinary levels of violence in order to force capitulation on the part of pregnant women. Anyways, it got me thinking about the sort of that dynamic that really at the end of the day, the only way that you can get a human being to do something is through the use of persuasion or the use of violence or the threat of violence. Even altruistic behavior usually has some sort of endemic thing associated with it for the individual who's actually performing it. Very few. I told you I was sick. Very few instances exist in human history where somebody was completely altruistic without seeking any sort of personal gain for their behavior. And we see this in modern economic rationalism too. What we do know is that when the government, any government, not just the United States government, it could be any government, whether it's a local municipality or an entire nation state, that their ability to use persuasion in order to achieve an agenda is usually very ham-fisted and doesn't work. So typically speaking, they have to rely on violence, the threat of violence, the implicit threat of violence, in order to get people to behave in a way that is contrary to their natural inclinations. Anyways, regardless, I highly encourage you to read the blog. You may completely disagree with me, and that's totally okay. If you do, I'd like to hear from you. Regardless, as always, you can contact me by email at steven@artemishq.com. You can leave a message right on the blog post. And as always, I want you to train constantly, consistently, repetitively, and with purpose. And above all else, stay safe.